Hello. Yeah, cheers. My name is Rachel. I'm fourth year, going to be a fifth year. So I came into the KP space as a transfer, and I was blessed that everyone that I met was really welcoming. And last year, I grew as a person by joining like big events like PDC. I definitely had to step out of my comfort zone. And good God, I ran for co-cultural coordinator. And a year ago, I was up here and totally like sold my life away to PCC. And last weekend, and I thought it was a real success. And as cultural coordinator, I had to deal with like a lot of people. I had to deal with like creative team, OCC, a big OCC this year. And since OCC was really big, I felt like I had to watch these people. And as like the chair of my event, I had to make sure that these people were taken care of, because if I take care of these people, I think I have to like take care of the people if I want my event to be, successful. And I feel like throughout that process of planning PCC and being a board member, I feel like I could do that same thing for KP board. And I know it's not the same thing, but I think the same tools that I use for like planning or like facilitating that growth and fostering that growth within OCC, I could do that for board. And also, yeah.
Okay. So we're going to start with the questions, and I have your first question. So every year, the new KP chair comes in with a goal or a direction that they want to see KP move towards. So what are your goals for next year, and where do you see yourself taking KP next year? Like, in what direction?
So for next year, like this past year, I felt like the social pillar of space has overshadowed like all the other pillars, and my goal for like next year is to have a balance of like social, political, academic, cultural, and experience. And where I see myself is having my board members being able to balance all those pillars, but also being like the foundation for my board members.
So, yeah, Jarrell. Oh wait, Jane and then Jarrell and then Joanne, yeah.
Jane. So, hi Rachel. Being at KP is often viewed as problematic as well as politically apathetic, such as lack of participation in rallies and whatnot by other SAC organizations. How do you intend to alleviate this stigma within the SAC community and establish real lasting ties with other SAC organizations for future generations?
So I know that whenever we do dinners for like politics and like things that happen in the community, I think that we as board need to come up with like a different approach. Like we shouldn't come off as so strong, and as chair, I would trust my social awareness coordinator, and from security, I feel like he would do a really good job. but also since I am the face of KP, I do have to be a leader in that.
Hi, Rachel. So as chair, like you said, you are the face of KP. People turn to you if they don't know something, they turn to you, and they assume that you know everything. You are also tasked with making the final decision, even though as an exec team you work together, but you still have that power to make the final decision. So my question is, how comfortable are you admitting your vulnerabilities and for asking for help, knowing that your position automatically comes overloaded with tasks and goals, and that you have to be the person with the final say? And if you aren't already comfortable, what realistic steps would you take to make yourself comfortable?
So you're saying how comfortable am I to be vulnerable?
Yeah, to show your vulnerability, show your weaknesses, and to ask for help.
good God, I'm so comfortable of showing my vulnerability. I really, that was like another thing I felt like between like last year and this year, like was to be able to step out of my comfort zone and show that, yeah, I am vulnerable. And I know that like I'm not alone in this process. I have my execs, I have my board. Like we all work together as a team, so that's where I stay.
So as an exec, you with the other exec are responsible for board growth, facilitating it, and especially since right now you don't have an incoming internal. I want to know what are your weaknesses within the space pillars and how will you tangibly address them in order to help support all of your board members, understanding that since you have less execs, you can't really divide them as people. Well, actually no, ignore the last part. But what are your weaknesses within the space pillars and how will you tangibly address them in order to help support all your board members, not just the ones that are more easily supported?
Personally, my weaknesses is definitely the political pillar. And once I heard like McDonald was running, like I started thinking about that. I really wanted to work with him and talk with him and definitely have one-on-one, and like, and especially like having like a different approach, like I said, a different approach of like to GBMers about politics. What else do you?
Well, it's just how will you like tangibly address them to help the support be sustainable? Because, well, kind of responding to your answer, I don't know if that's allowed, but to like have one-on-ones with Donald is if he were to be social awareness.
Yeah,
Like that's kind of not as sustainable per se. And how will you communicate support not just to him, but if political is your weakness, and also to community activism, to Gen Z?
I would also, I would not want to only also have like one-on-ones with that position, but also like to make sure that all board members like are on the same page with that, and also to check in with like where they stand, and hopefully like that they understand like what KP is all about, and that they also need to pass down like that information that we all need to be cultural, socially, and politically aware.
So that was 4 questions so far. Does anybody else have any other questions for Chair? So we're going to go Camilla and then Dress.
So it was kind of asked in like several different questions, but I want like a more like answer that would put like a lot of the aspects that people were asking together. So we've heard throughout this entire Q&A about what passion other potential board members have and what direction they want to put in the space, and again, not, you know, might potentially not having a vice chair internal. How would you balance, because every goal, so every goal for like a chair is to equalize the pillars, but more often than not, you know, like all the time, that is never achieved. How do you plan on balancing like what passion and what other board members want to bring to the space, and also addressing the GBMers? Because I feel like KP has always presented itself as a space built for GBMers by GBMers. So how do you plan on combining those two, like, again, helping out other board members to bring what KP needs to grow as a SAC org, as an organization on campus, but while also reaching out to first years and what GBMers want and what GBMers need from the space, especially without a vice chair internal? How do you see your role in this, and how do you see your role changing too without a vice chair internal, without that personal thing with the